Lindor. They're great sweets. The Lindt company have now got so many different flavours of these Lindor Balls, but the originals are still my favourite. Are they your favourite?
Yeah, I think probably are. Yeah.
There we go, look, bold. Both of us are OG with Lindor Balls. But I've never made an ice cream with them. My original idea was to scoop the insides out and make it with just the ganache, but you know, I just end up eating the outside, so we're gonna make a Lindor ice cream. Welcome back to Polar Ice Creamery. I'm Nick. Today, as I mentioned, gonna make Lindor ice cream. No add-ins in this at all. It's actually, I've made quite a large mix here, so you'll see a good amount of sugars going into this, but I've filled my ice cream machine up to its max. I will put a nominal amount of ingredients in the description below to make a 1 to 1.5 litre size base for you. And then you can double it, triple it, halve it, whatever you want to do from that point on. So, how do we make this Lindor ice cream? Let's find out. So, as every recipe we make here, I mean bar 1 or 2, we're gonna start with our milk in the pan. And to that, we're gonna add in our sugars. We've gone for a little bit of sucrose and then a good old load of dextrose. Why? Because chocolate ice cream has a habit of going harder than others in the freezer, so you can afford a little bit more sugars if it's dextrose you're using, and that will give you a nicer scoop to your chocolate ice cream. Once the sugars are no, they're not divided. Once the sugars are dissolved and the milk has come up to a reasonable temperature, again, we're not using a thermometer here, it just needs to be warmed. Add in your cocoa powder. We've gone for Guittards cocoa powder here, which is incredibly good, very silky, borderline milk chocolate flavor. Get that mixed in well, then add in your milk powder again. Make sure it's really well dissolved. You don't want any lumps in there, so make sure it's completely incorporated. Finally, you can turn the heat off and add in your Lindor balls and just slowly mix them in until they're completely melted. And as you can see, it's quite warm at the moment because these things are just exploding in my fingers. Once it's nicely combined and the texture looks amazingly silky like this, you can take it off the hob and put it in a container. As usual, we add in our cream, one final little mix, put it in the fridge for a few hours to chill down. After your base is completely chilled, take it out, give it one final little mix, and then you're going to put it in your machine as normal. Depending on the size of the mix, this will take anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes to churn. Again, like I said, I've made quite a large batch here. There's no fancy add-ins, so once it's churned to your liking, take it out your ice cream machine and pop it in a container. In the freezer it goes for 3 or 4 hours. What are Lindor Balls? They are a milk chocolate shell filled with a very unique, as my wife gently moves my phone out of shot, with a very unique ganache filling. The ganache melts in the warmer weather, goes nice and solid, not hard, solid in the cooler weather. They're just really nice, texturally very nice. It's a very emotive kind of chocolate that these things are. They are bloody expensive, but worth it every time. So we decided to use the Guittards cocoa powder as it reflects in the light. This is a really, really good quality cocoa powder. I mean, the company Guittards have been around for donkey's years, so they know what they're doing as far as chocolate is concerned. This is no exception. So, you know, everyone goes on about Valhrona. It is possibly the best cocoa powder I've found yet, but this comes in a really close second because it creates a different kind of chocolate ice cream. It creates something that's a bit more in line with milk chocolate and not that super dark, punchy, fudgy dark chocolate. So there's a cocoa powder for everyone. These two go really well together. Let's get some scooped up and see what the result is. scoops nicely. It's just the right density. It just freezes just right so that if you take it out of the freezer, you can dig your spoon in and just go. None of this waiting around. It's a personal preference. If you don't want a really soft scooped ice cream, or you don't want it to be soft enough to scoop, you can reduce the sugars. All these kind of things can be done to your preference. So if you want a lower sugar ice cream, you can drop the sugars, it will go harder in the freezer, and you might get a touch of iciness to it because the way ice cream freezes, depending on the sugar content, means it will freeze faster in your machine, which is great because that will mean a smaller ice crystal, but you've then got to wait for it to defrost, and it's a whole science thing that I'm sure I don't actually understand, but hey, I make bloody good ice cream. I don't need to understand it all. Let's see what this ice cream tastes like, shall we? I could quite easily just sit there and eat that whole tub. That is incredible. It's incredibly smooth. There's no detectable ice crystals in there. And weirdly enough, for this recipe, I went a bit rogue. I didn't use the ice cream calculator. Well, no, I lie. I did for half the recipe, and then I just ignored it after adding the actual Lindor Balls in. I didn't calculate the sugar that was in those. I didn't calculate, the additional fats that were in that chocolate at all. So you can create something spectacular without following an exact scientific approach to ice cream. There are a lot of people out there that will literally punish you. Let's be fair, the internet is full of those kind of people that say you must do this and you must do that. Absolutely not, it's rubbish. You can do whatever you want as long as you're happy with the result. Now this is a classic case of a perfect bloody chocolate ice cream. It's really good, and I think we probably are just going to sit here and have a good old bowl of this after our dinner tonight. But if you can't get Lindor chocolate where you are, you could sub it for another milk chocolate ice cream. No, you could sub it for another milk chocolate. The result won't be the same as this because Lindor has a very unique flavour that you can't get anywhere else. But you could try a different Lindt chocolate maybe, one of their milk chocolate varieties, and see how that works. You don't also need to use Guittards. You could use whatever cocoa powder you like. You are free to make your ice cream as you want to. You don't have to follow everyone's rules. I'm here to give you an idea of how to make all these different flavours. You can pick and choose whatever ingredient, whatever flavour, whatever element you want out of my videos, and you can just roll with it and make it your own. More than happy for you to do that. If you do that, let me know how it goes. Let me know if you've changed something and how the resulting ice cream turned out. I'd love to know how your ice cream goes. Some people send us great photos on Instagram. I'll put the links here just so you can find us on there. I don't really do Facebook because it just irritates me now, so you probably find less posts on there, but we do keep going on Instagram, so make sure you go and find us over there as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.